revision class, the first topic that you have and that you have already covered. So you don't have to keep silent, you have to respond. I'll keep asking, you keep telling, and the answer will be there. Fine? So what's anthropology, ma'am?
It's a holistic science.
Holistic science. Yes, sir.
Holistic study of mankind.
Holistic study of mankind. Holistic means what? Overall. That way, if you study everything about man, then what is the need for other disciplines?
It's an integrated study of overall aspects
Of everything.
of all aspects.
This is what I am saying. If you say it is a holistic study, integrated or whatever words you use, then psychology, what is the need? Sociology, what is the need? History, what is the need? Medicine, what is the need? Pharmacy, what is the need? We are studying everything.
They study the specific aspect of human being, but anthropology touches all other aspects, and it is study the man in totality, in time and in space. Like we study the how man evolved through biological anthropology, and we also study the prehistory, like how the culture evolved from the proto-history to modern up to the time. So this is the study of man in space and.
Do we study the psyche of man?
As a society, our team's psyche, yes.
Yeah, we study group psychology. And culture is the product of group psychology. We don't study individual psychology.
That is for psychology.
Actually, you know, whenever you define, the definition should give an indication, if not the complete scope of the subject. Everything that you study must be covered therein. And if you properly define anthropology, it is the study of biological as well as social cultural evolution and variation. We study biological evolution, we study biological variation, we study social cultural evolution, we study social cultural variation. How do we study biological evolution? We have theories, we have evidences, micro as well as macro. Biological variation, variation in the morphological and genetic structure of different populations, variation in the growth of different populations, ecological response to different populations. Means whatever you have studied in physical anthropology, all that gives you the glimpse of what is biological aspect. Fine? Biological variation, genetics also tells you about biological variation. Like Shunaski has already told you that all humans are genetically alike by 99.9%. But when you say similarities, obviously differences also become a part of that. Second is social cultural. No, here firstly you must distinguish between the material culture and non-material culture. Institutions represent non-material culture. Anything that is tangible is material culture. What is culture? Anybody?
It's a commonly followed practices amongst a community and the beliefs that.
They are customs.
Belief and
Tyler's definition. But Tyler's definition doesn't include material culture.
Man-made shared behavior.
Behavior. Behavior again is non-material aspect.
culture is a device to fulfill our needs.
Animals also have their own devices to fulfill their needs, but they don't have culture.
Sir, it has a belief system to it as well.
As well. What else? This is what Tyler said, values, moral, belief, ritual, this, that. Important thing was learnt by man as a member of society. And that gave you the characteristics of culture also. Culture is shared, culture is learnt, culture is transferred. And that is why the question that arose, culture is unique to man. What is the answer?
Because man learns from others. That was the first point.
Animals don't.
नहीं, जैसे हम डोमेस्टिक डॉग रखते हैं बट डॉग हमारी तरह बोलना चलना नहीं सीखते,
हाँ.
तो ये एग्जांपल है
But they interact amongst themselves.
अगेन
वो culture में
दैट इज नथिंग मीनिंगफुल.
It's not meaningful for you, it may be for them. Like you call apes as apes. Huh? We are copying them or they are copying us. If when we call ourselves as Homo sapiens, the wise man, are we really wise? When apes would be interacting amongst themselves, maybe they would call man as bloody fool. How do we know? They do interact with each other. Actually, you know, this issue, what are the characteristics of culture, and because you are not a fan of National Geographic or Animal Planet or Geographic, they have been showing at times videos about apes. I did tell you that today's chimp and gorilla, they are learning computers and they are helping other apes to learn. So this is a characteristic that you can call a culture, transferring knowledge. So that is why this issue is there, whether it is unique to man or not. Actually, you know, again you already know that man has strong long-term memory. Apes have strong short-term memory. That's a striking difference. So how would you know whether they have culture or not? These experiments are okay till lab conditions are there, that chimpanzees and gorillas, they are learning computers and helping others. Now if you keep them apart for a specific period, say 5 to 10 years, and then bring them back to the lab, if they have still retained that memory, I told you apes short-term memory, if they still retain and they can pass it on, then the issue would be worth debate whether they have culture or not. Tool making ability is there, of course very primitive. Then only the issue, the answer will be complete. Presently it is unique to man only.
So आपने एक पॉइंट और मेंशन किया. One important precondition is that they should live long enough to pass it on.
They don't live long enough.
नहीं तो ये
How would you decide long?
Actually, the thing is that during 1920s or 1930s, the man was also like that.
I told you, in the case of Neanderthal, average lifespan is estimated at 18 to 20 years. In India, in 1927, the average lifespan was 27 years. So how would you define long years? Apes live that long. Fine. So, in social cultural anthropology, when we talk about material culture, we can study material culture the way we study in prehistoric archaeology or ethnoarchaeology. Even ethnographic studies that we have, material culture can be studied. But non-material culture institutions? Again, while talking religion, I told you institutions represent non-material aspect of culture that do not leave any evidences, and without evidences we cannot know about their origin or evolution. We can see cultural variation, the way we study all those material culture I told you, and marriage, family, kinship in different societies. So from the definition it should become clear that there are only two major subdisciplines. We divide into four, it's a different matter. One we call biological, second one we call social culture. And all other so-called subdisciplines, either they are a branch of one subdiscipline or they result because of the combination of the two. So for example, I told you prehistoric archaeology, we study prehistoric cultures. And study of evolution of culture is an integral part of social culture. So should it be a separate branch? Similarly, anthropological linguistics. We study language. Certain issues are there. What was the need for language? What were the structural changes in throat that gave rise to language? What was the selective advantage to the people who developed language compared to those who didn't? All these are biological issues. Then language is a vehicle of culture. So you combine the two. Or as you studied in ecology, you have social ecology, cultural ecology, evolutionary ecology, all these are social cultural, and then human adaptability. Branch of that and branch of that, and you combine and it becomes. So if we start dividing like this, in 2013 there was a seminar in London and there were 143 themes discussed. That means you can divide anthropology into at least 143 branches. Mental anthropology, dental anthropology, economic anthropology, political anthropology, and number of them. But in US, they divide into 4 main branches: biological anthropology or physical anthropology, which is no more studied in anthropology in the US, social cultural anthropology, whereas the trend is to call it culturology, then prehistoric archaeology and anthropological linguistics.